Okay, kindly confirm if you can see my screen.
Yes, please, I can.
Yes, please.
Okay, that's awesome. Today we are going to do something very, very simple and straightforward. We are going to learn about using Excel for any mathematical stuff. So sort of like mathematical functions in Microsoft Excel. And I'm sure most of you have come across some of the functions. So we are going to be very brief and precise. And I'm sure it's going to take like 1 hour and then we'll be out of here. So I want you to open your Excel sheet on your laptop and then type what you see in the Excel here. Just type it. So I'm giving you like 5 to 10 minutes for you to type what you see here. It's not even supposed to even take you about 5 minutes, but I'm just going to give you 5 to 10 minutes for you to type this um on your Excel sheet here. So we are going to start in 5 minutes time, or let's say 12:25. We are going to start.
Please zoom a bit.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so those who just joined, I would want you to open your Microsoft Excel and then type what you are seeing on the screen on your Excel. So you have like just 5 minutes for us to kickstart. Okay, so we have just 2 minutes more for us to start. Okay, so I believe we can all start now. So today we are going to talk about sum, average, count, count A, round, and then average if, and then sum ifs. So sum, average, count, round, average if, sum if, and then count if. Okay. So these are the common mathematical functions that is used in Microsoft Excel. I mean, every organization would want you to have these functions like on your fingertips, just to show that you can be able to work around Excel. So for today, we are going to talk about these 7 functions. I'm sure you've come across some, and then average. Yes, I'm sure your tutor has already given you assignments and you've used sum and average in the assignment. So what does sum do? Just like the name suggests, sum is used in Microsoft Excel to add several cells quickly. And then, so now let's go to the data that we have. We want to add the salary. So what you can do is to go just under the cell, just under the last number, and then you do equal to sum. So when you do equal to sum, the functions will come. Please, am I audible enough? Can you all hear me?
Yes.
And please, I hope you are all following. And I want you to have the same figures as I have, so that when we are doing and then we get the answers, it will be easy for you to also get the answer. Okay, so before you start any mathematical function in Excel, you have to start with equal to. So equal to sum, and then you have other functions that Microsoft Excel will give you. So if you want to select the first, you hit tab. So when you hit tab, it's going to select the sum function for you. So it's going to select the sum function for you. Now, how do you select all the data in that particular range that you want to add? What you do is you hit the first and then you drag to the top. So hold and then drag to the top to select the range that you want your answer to come from. And then you hit enter. So when you hit enter, it's going to sum everything for you. That is the sum function. Another alternative that you can use for the sum function, that is if there are a lot of data and you want to add all of them, and then you don't want to do equal to sum, come and click the first cell, drag up, you can use the alt equal to. So let's delete this. Then we do. So you go to where you want your answer to be, you hit alt equal to. Then it will select the whole column or the range that the data is in for you. Then you hit enter. The alt equal to is used usually when the data that you have is quite voluminous and is a lot, and then you don't want to use drag and then drag to the top and all. So you use the alt equal to make it very simple for you. That's the sum. Are we okay with this? Can I move on?
Let's
Any
go back a
questions?
bit.
Sorry, please say that again. Please, what did you say? I didn't really hear you. Sorry,
Let's
I
go
can't
back
really.
a bit.
Okay. Okay, sure. So, like I said earlier, sum is used to add all your data that you have. Any data you have, you can use the sum function. And I'm saying that if you want to use any function in Excel, you have to start with an equal to. And then you type sum. So sum tab, you hit the tab to select the function that you want. So sum, If you want maybe sum by cell color, you use the arrow down to select and then you hit tab to select it for you. But that's not what we want. We want sum. So you hit tab to select it for you. And then you click the last cell and then you drag it to the top. So drag to the top and then you hit enter. You are going to get the total of all the salaries of the employees. Now, I'm saying that if there are a lot of data for this, and then you want to add the salary, it's going to be quite tedious for you looking at how you have to drag to the top. So another alternative that you can use in place of sum is the alt and the equal to. So let's delete this. Now you're going to hold the alt key down and then you hit equal to. So you make sure that the alt key is pressed down. You're not going to release your hand from the alt key and then you add equal to select everything for you and then you hit enter. So you realize that equal to, if you realize that you made a mistake from this and then you want to go back, you can hit the escape key. You can hit the escape key so that the function will not be there anymore. So you hit alt equal to, then enter to get the sum. So just to be sure that is correct, you can just highlight where you want, and then you're going to see it under like the, I don't know, can you see my arrow? So when you go down to your the desktop, let me just try it again. So you're going to see average, count, sum, and then you're realizing that the amounts that you have under sum here is equal to what you have here, meaning that what we did is correct. So sometimes if you want to verify and see if the sum, like after adding the answer you had, is correct, you can just highlight the whole range and then you come under here and then you check and see if it is correct. Are we okay to this point? Can I move on to the
Yes.
okay, so can I move on to the next?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So now we are going to do average. So let's try average. Average is when you want to find the average of all the salaries that you have. So equal to average. So to select the function you want, what did I say you use to select the function?
Tab key.
Anyone to help me? Sorry?
Tab key.
Tab
Awesome.
key.
So you use the tab key to select the function. Also. So you use the tab key to select the function and then you drag to the top. Unfortunately, there's no other alternative that you can use to get the average. Just like how sum you can use the alt equal to. Average, you have to drag to the top. So now this is what we had. So let me do it again. Equal to average. Then use the tab key to select. Then you drag to the top. Then you hit enter to get your answer. So now let's highlight everything and see if indeed what we have is the same as what Excel is giving us. So you can see down here that it is the same thing. The same thing we have here. Okay. So if you want to find the average of this two, you're going to do equal to average. Then you drag to the top. Then you hit enter. Then this is what you are going to get. So are we okay for the second function? Can we move to the third function? Any question? Any question? Okay. So I'm going to take the silence to mean that there's no question. So we are moving to count. Just as it's like literally all the mathematical functions in Excel, the name itself will even show you what you are supposed to use it for. So count, we have count and we have count A. I'm going to show you the difference between the two. So count, if you want to know the number of cells you have in the data, or you want to know the number of employees maybe you have in the organization, if the data is voluminous, if it's a lot, you can just come here and then do equal to count. So count, then you drag to the top, then hit enter. It's going to give you 0, right? So let's use it here on numbers. So now let's count, equal to count. I'm going to come back to y is 0. So equal to count, then you select. So if you don't want to drag to the top, you can use Control Shift arrow top. So escape to clear the function. You can do equal to count, tab, you select the last cell, Control Shift arrow to the top, then Control Shift, then down, Control Shift arrow to the top. You realize that it has selected the heading. So what you can do is shift and then arrow down. Shift arrow down to select the particular range that you want. So now let's hit enter. So you realize that this is giving you like the correct value. And then when you use this, is giving you 0. Meanwhile, there are values, there are data here that is supposed to count. Can anybody tell me the reason why we are seeing a difference in the values even though we use the same function? Anybody to tell me?
Yes, please.
Okay, please go ahead.
Hello. Okay, so please, when you use the count function, it just counts the figures in the cell for you or in the range you're giving it to, but it doesn't count, let me say, the words or the alphabet in the area you're giving the distance.
Exactly. Thank you very much. So just like I'm sorry, please, what's your name? I'm sharing my screen, so I'm not seeing your name.
Owenam.
Owenam. So just like what Owenam said, the count function counts just figures, numbers, and then the count A counts alphabet or words in a range you want. So now let's use count A over here. Count, so sorry, you hit equal to count A, then you hit tab, then you select the last cell, then Control Shift top, Shift down, and then you hit enter. So you realize that when we use count A, it counted all the words or the alphabet for you in the cells. So let's try and use count A over here and T equal to count A. Then select Control Shift top, Shift down. Yes. So count A is used for alphabet and then numbers at a time. But it's rare, like it's very rare for you to see count A being used for figures. What we usually use for figures is the count function. Sometimes you can, if you use count A for figures, it's not going to work. So what is advisable to do is to use count A for alphabet and use count for figures. That is what the functions are for. So any questions? Can I move on? Do you have any contribution, any comment, any questions at all that you would want me to address?
Please first go back to count. I've not understood very well.
Okay. So count. So count, just like the name suggests, count is used to count the number of cells in the range that you want. So you have to know that count is to count just figures, not alphabet. So when I used equals to count here and tab, select shift, control shift top, shift down, you realize that it gave me 0. Meanwhile, there's data here that it has to count, but it gave me an answer of 0, meaning that that is not the function you are supposed to use for the for this particular data, because they are alphabets. So the best to use over here is CountA. CountA is used to count alphabets. So a trick that you can use is count and then A. So the A could stand for alphabets. So if you forget anything at all, the A could stand for alphabet. So now let's use CountA, equal to CountA. Then enter. You realize that it's going to give you the total number of cells that you have. Now, let's use count over here for figures, because count is used for figures. So equal to count. Then select control shift. Sorry, please. What did you say?
I've understood.
Okay, sure then. Then let's move on to round. So what does round do? Round is going to round the figure that you have to its nearest that you want it to be. So let's try and round this figure to the nearest whole number. We are rounding this figure to the nearest whole number. So equal to round tab, then the number. So you select what you want to round. So you select it, comma, then the number of digits. So if you want it to be nearest whole number, then you're going to use 0. If you want nearest whole number, you're going to use 0. So if you want it to 1 decimal place, you're going to use 1. If you want it to 2 decimal place, you're going to use 2. If you want it to 3 decimal place, you're going to use 3. So let's round this to the nearest whole number. So you're going to select 0, then shift, and then this to close. Yeah. So you realize that it's going to round it off to the nearest whole number. Now let's just do 1, 2, 3, 4 point. So let's use round, equal to round. You select the number you want, comma, then the nearest. So now we want it to round it to the nearest, like to 2 decimal places. So 2. Then you close brackets, enter. So you realize that it's going to round it to 2 decimal places for you. So that is what round does. Any question? Any question at all? Okay. So silence means everything is fine.
Hello.
Hello.
Please, with my own, I'm trying to do the sum and the average, but then I input everything and at the end I get 0 as my answer.
You get 0 as your answer.
Yes, please.
So when you try and do the equal to sum, is this what you are talking about?
Yes, please.
Okay. So do you select Control Shift top down? Do you select it?
Yes, please.
And then you get 0.
Yes.
Wow. That's weird. Okay. Please, what's your name?
Please, I'm Letitia.
Letitia. Okay. So I'll get back to you on this.
Yes, please.
Okay,
Thank you.
sure. So is it just the sum that you're having issues with?
The sum and the average for now. When I tried the count, I was able to get it, but the count A, I didn't get it.
So count A, you didn't get it.
Yes, and the sum and the average.
Okay, and then how about round?
I did it, it worked.
Then that means that you are not going to get the others that I'm coming to teach. But it's fine. You can just follow through. After the class, you just hit me up and then I'll take you through it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, so we are done with sum, average, count, round. So now let's move to average if, sum if, count if. So average if. So the moment you see if, you should know that there's going to be a condition attached to it. So average if. So we want to find the average salary of all the males in the organization. So now let's clear all the answers that we've done. So delete. So we want to find the average salary of all the males in the organization. So now you realize that there's a condition attached to what you are supposed to do. That is finding the average salary of all the males in the organization. That is the condition attached to it. So let's try and work this out. So equal to average. Then you average if, then you hit tab. So now the formula is giving you range, criteria, average range. So the range is where your condition can be found. The range is where your condition can be found. So the question is telling you to find the average number, the average salary of males. So males is a condition. Now, which of the columns can you see that there's like males there? Which of the columns?
The first one.
Gender.
Okay, the gender, yes. So the gender is going to show you if it's a male or a female. I mean, there can be a female if you use the first one. What if Excel reads James as a female? What if Excel reads Josephine as a male? It's going to be problematic. So you can use the gender to use as the range. So we are going to select the range. You select the range, comma, the criteria. So the criteria is also the condition. The criteria is also the condition. So what is the criteria?
Male.
Male, exactly. So the condition is to find is male. The criteria is male. So now you realize that if you are using the condition, you should know that it is case sensitive, and then the way it is spelled too, it is sensitive. So I remember your tutor told you that if you want to use any function in Excel and then you want to type any alphabet in the function, you are supposed to, what are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do?
Put them.
Sorry, please say that
You quote
again.
them.
Exactly. So you quote them. So they said
The
find
alphabets are quoted.
males. Males, there's yes, exactly. So you want to find the salary, the average salary of males. So now you have to put it in quotes. Male, M. Yes. So then comma, then the average range is where you want your answer to come from. That is the average range where you want your answer to come from. So you have to select where do you want your answer to come from. You're finding the average salary for the males in the organization. Where do you want your answer to come from?
Salary,
In
salary column.
From the salary column.
exactly. So you have to select the range. So control shift top, then shift down to select the range. Then you close the brackets. Then you hit enter. It's going to give you your answer. So are we okay with this? I did. So now let's try and change this and then spell the whole thing meal. Spell the whole thing meal. Yeah. So you realize that it's giving us an error when we spelled everything meal. It's giving us an error because the criteria that we have or the condition that we have is different from what is in the range that the condition is in. So let's change it from M to male itself and then hit enter. Now it's going to give you what you want, the answer that you want. So you should always have it at the back of your head that if you are using a condition and then you want to quote the condition in inverted commas, it's supposed to be the same way as how it is spelled in the range that you want. It's supposed to be the same way. Another alternative that you can use if you don't want to quote it, you can just type the range. You can just type the criteria somewhere, male. So you are using this if you don't want to put the criteria in inverted commas. So let's clear this and then do equal to average if tab. And then the range, this is the range, comma, the criteria. So because you typed it, you don't have to put it in inverted commas again. You just select the criteria, then comma. Then you select what you want. Then you hit enter. So it's going to give you the same thing. So if you don't want to go through the stress of putting your criteria in inverted commas, you can just type it somewhere or you can just copy it and then you come and paste it in a different sheet. So you copy and then Control V to paste it, Control C to copy, Control V to paste it. Yeah. So are we okay? Can we proceed? Any question?
Hi, Ernestina.
Hi.
Please, when you copy and you paste it, can you go over that side again for me?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. So copy is Control C. Then pasting it, Control V. So now let's try and highlight this. Highlight, change the font color. Okay. So now we want just the text inside. We don't want the highlights and everything. So you copy Control C and then you come here. You do Control Alt V. Sorry, my laptop is a bit slow today. Yeah. So Control Alt V. So now you realize that to use the paste special, you realize that the text over there are some alphabets that have been underlined. Realize that there are some alphabets that have been underlined. So those alphabets are what you can press or you can click on your keyboard to give you how you want it to be pasted. So let's press Control V. Then you hit enter. So it's going to paste it in values for you. It's not going to add the highlights, the highlighted color, and then the font color. So let me take it again. So Control C, then Control Alt V. So if you want to paste in values, it's going to give you V. So the vein you always have to make sure that if you are using paste special and then you don't want to use the mouse, you have to use the alphabets that have been underlined. So if you want to paste in values, you're going to use vein. Then you hit enter. Right. So let's just do a small a small paste special. So now you have this. You select it. Let's try and paste it here. Control Alt V. So this is giving you the names in a vertical format. Now, we don't want it in a vertical format. We want it in a horizontal format. Now, you realize that there's all formulas, values, formulas, skip blanks, transpose, multiply, divide. So the transpose feature is going to make you get the values or the names in a horizontal format. So the transpose feature, which of the letters here is underlined? Which of the letters is underlined?
Letter E.
Letter E, exactly. So you select letter E. It's going to select the transpose feature for you. Then you hit enter. So when you hit enter, it's going to give you the name in a horizontal format. So that's a bit of paste special.
Is the shortcut for the paste special again?
So the shortcut is Control Alt V. So because I'm not selected anything, so Control C, Control Alt V. So let's just do the sum of this. Alt equal to. Let's just do the sum. So Alt equal to. Now, this has the formula inside. Now, you don't want the formula, but you want just the number. You want just the value. You don't want the formula, but you want it just in the same cell that the formula is in. So what you can do is select that particular cell, then do Control C. Then in that same cell, you want to paste it in values in that same cell. So Control Alt V. Then you use the V and then enter. So now it's going to paste it in values. You realize that there's no formula here. So in that same light, let's do another one. So Alt equal to sum. So Control C. We want the formula. We want the formula inside the cell and then the value. So Control Alt V. So which of the paste special can we use to get the formula and then the value? What can we use? Which one can we use? Sharon, can you assist me?
Can you come again?
Okay. So this has the formula inside and then the value. So now we want to copy and then paste the formula and the value. So I've done Control C. I want to paste it here. Control Alt V. So which of the paste special features can we use to get the formula?
Get both the formula and the values right.
Okay. So this is where for this particular side, you have to select just one of the features. You can't select formula and values at the same time. So if you want just the value, you can just select value. But if you want the formulas, you select just the formula and it will automatically give you the value. So the formula, the letter that is underlined is F. So F, then you hit enter. Yes. So it's going to give you 0 because there's nothing here that you're supposed to add. There's no number here that you're supposed to add. So let's just put a number here. So if there's a formula that you think you can't do that formula again in another cell or in another column, you can just select the formula you want, control. You can just copy the formula you want. Then you come here, then control alt V, and then you select F to give it the formula, and then it will automatically action it based on the formula that you have. So it has added for you. So I've taught you a little bit of Paste Special. Any question before we move on to what you are supposed to do? Any question? Any question at all? Okay, okay. So let me continue. No fill black. So we've done average if, right? We've done average if. Any question on the average if? Sharon, please, are you okay with the copy and the paste? You're the one that asked the
Yes,
question.
please.
Okay, okay, sure.
Please.
Okay.
Why you copy and paste them?
I'm sorry, I can't really hear you. Sharon, please, your network is breaking. I can't really hear you. Sharon, okay, you've gone off. So when you come back, you can just ask me your question. Okay, so let's move to some if. So it's basically does the same thing as the average if, basically.
Hi, Tina.
So, yes, hi Sharon.
Please, the question was actually on, see, when you were getting the average if, after you used
Okay,
the normal formula, you copied the mill
okay,
and pasted and you used it to find the average if.
okay.
So that was what I wanted to know how you
Oh,
did it.
okay. So I was just saying that because this one doesn't have, because this one is just the letters, it doesn't have any formatting on it. I just did Control C and then I pasted here, Control V. That's all. That's all I did. Is this what you're talking about? Sharon, is this what you're talking about? Okay. Sharon, if you are speaking, I can't hear you.
Hear me?
Okay. Yes, I can hear you now.
The average if, when we were trying to find the average if, I think the first one you did equal to average if, then we used the formula to find the answer.
Yeah.
After, when you change the M to male,
Yeah.
you copied the male and pasted and you used the formula to get the average if again for the second. I don't know how to explain to you, but I don't know if anyone else gets me. You used it twice. You
I'm struggling to get, because the only copy and paste I did was copying the mail and then pasting it.
Yeah,
And then
after pasting it, did you
Mhm.
use it in finding the average if?
Yes, yes. So let me,
That's what
so
I want to know. Yeah.
okay. So this is the average if function. Let's select where you want it to be. So mail, then comma. So the criteria, I just selected the criteria. I just selected it. Did you get it?
Yeah, I get it now. Yeah.
Yes. So I
Yeah.
just selected it. I didn't type anything for the, I just selected it, then comma, the range. The range. So Control Shift arrow down. Then that's all.
Okay, great. I
So
get it now. Thank you very much.
you're welcome. So let's clear all these so that. So I'm using Shift and then the right arrow key. So if I can still use shift, then the left arrow key, shift right arrow key to select what I want, then I delete. So you realize that when I deleted it, the formula or the answer we had is now an error because the criteria has been deleted. So what you can do is that maybe after you have done your formula and you want to clear that side, so let's just do Control C, then Control V, then equal to average if, then your range, comma, then you select, comma, then just to hit enter. Okay, so now let's move on to sum if. So we are going to sum the number, we are going to sum the salary of all the males in the organization. Okay, so now we are not going to do salary. Let's use production quantity. So you are going to sum the total production quantities all the males in the organization produce. So yeah, so equal to sum if. So the range is actually the same thing as the average if. So what will be the range? What will be the range?
Gender, comma.
Okay, that's cool. That's correct. So the gender. So it has selected the topic. So you can do shift and then arrow down to unselect the topic. Then comma. So this, you should always know that it is when you're typing the criteria, it is
Go back a bit, a little bit.
okay. Let's you hit escape to clear the formula you. So we want to find the total quantities that the females in the organization has produced. Or sorry, the total quantities that the females in the organizations have produced. So equal to sum if tab. Then the range is where the criteria can be found. So females is found under the gender side. So you select the range, then comma. The criteria is female, and you realize that it is not typed in full. And you should always know that the criteria is case sensitive, is spelling sensitive. So you type if, then comma. So we want to find the total quantity. So where will your sum range be? Where will it be?
Production quantity, comma.
Exactly. So the production quantity column. So you select, then you do shift control down, and then you hit enter. So when you hit enter, it's going to sum the total quantities of the females that you have in the organization. So are we good to go? Can I continue? So in the same way, you can also copy this if maybe the criteria is long. Like you can't really type it, like if it's a long criteria that you have, and you can't really type the criteria. So let me do Control C. Let's try and paste Control V. So you can do this, and then the small box here, then you double, it will fill everything for you. So that's not what you want. When you fill, you realize that it's going to cover the male side. So you can just do down, and then Control C, and then control V. So you realize that it's giving you a zero value. So, and then the criteria is very long. So you automatically, well, you can type it, but then it's going to take you a while. So you can just copy it, and then you paste it. Now let's do the sum. Let's just take it as if this is the spelling of female. Let's just take it like that. So equal to sum if. So you're summing if the gender column criteria is female, then the production quantity where you want your answer to come from. Then you hit enter. Yeah, so that is it. That is it for the sum if. So the same thing for the count if and the sum if is usually confusing. So let me send this back to this, and then down, then you so now we are going to do this count if. So like I said, the count if and the sum if is usually confusing. The difference is going to be in how the question has been structured, or when you're using it for your work, and how like you want it to be like. So sum if is going to count the total quantities the females have produced. Now count if, when you want to use count if, what should usually come into your mind is how. So how many times? So for counts and then count if, how many times did females produce like in the organization? So when you see count if, it's how many times. When you see count, how many times? When you see sum, what is the total? Sum. What is sum if? What is count? How many times? So now let's do count if. Equal to count if. So count if, then you hit tab. Let's try and go back. So you realize that when you want to even input the function, there's something like it gives you the explanation of the function that you are coming to use. So when you're trying, it counts the number of cells within the range that meets the given condition. Now let's use it. The sum if. So sum if adds the cell specified by it. So sometimes if you want to input a formula, you can use the explanation that Excel gives beside the formula to know what you're about. So we've done sum if. So let's go to count if. Tab, the range. So the range. And then the criteria. So the criteria is okay. So you're going to see that we didn't select the production quantities, because that's not what count if is asking us to do. Count if is trying to ask you, I mean, based on the question that we've asked, it's trying to ask how many times did females produce in the organization. It's just asking you how many times. It's not asking you the quantity. It's not asking you the salary. That's what I'm saying, that count if is usually confusing. Count and then sum is usually confusing. So let's try it again. Equal to count. Count if. Tab. The range, you see, it's not giving you maybe like how sum if, average if will give you maybe some range, average range. Count if doesn't really care about it. So let's try and sum if. Tab. So you see sum if gives you range, criteria, and the sum range, as in where you want your answer to come from. But count if doesn't give you the sum range or the average range that you want. So count if. It just gives you the range and the criteria. So the range is usually where the criteria is. So you are counting how many times did females produce in the organization. How many females are there in the organization? How many times did females produce? How many females are there in the organization? So you can use count if, then the range. This is the range. Then comma. Then the criteria is female. And that's all for count if. Any question? Any question? Any contribution? Anybody wants me to go over?
Kindly go over the count if for me for the last time, please.
Okay, sure, that's fine. So count if. I'm saying that count if doesn't really take into consideration the production quantity, the salary. Sorry. Count if is usually to know how many times this, how many times this. So how many times did females produce in the organization? How many times, like how many females? So when you see count or count if, what should come in your mind is how many, how many females are there in the organization, how many this, how many. But some is what is the total, what is this, what is. So now let's do the count if. So equal to count if, then you hit tab. The range. So the range is where your criteria can be located. So this is your range. Then comma, the criteria. You're looking for females. How many times females produce in the organization? If. Then you hit enter. So it's going to give you 4 times. So now let's try for males. Equal to count if tab. Then the range. So select Control Shift top, Shift down to unselect the heading. Then you select the male. We've already pasted it here, so you can select the male. Sorry, I didn't bring the comma. So equal to count if tab, the range, Control Shift top, Shift down, comma. Then you select the male, comma. Sorry, then that is also, you close the bracket and then you hit enter. So you realize that the males produce like 5 times in the organization. So maybe basically that is what count if is for. Any question? Any question? Contribution? Anything at all? Okay, please. Then I'm guessing that everybody understood it, because there's going to be an assignment for you to do, and over the holidays we wanted you people to show a lot, so we didn't give you any assignment. So it's either going to be a project or it's going to be an assignment based on what we've done so far. So from the beginning till date, we are going to give you an assignment. So once again, I want to ask if everybody understood this particular session. Okay, so I'm going to take your silence to mean that everybody understands. Okay, so we are basically done with the class. So any contribution? Okay, so in absence of no further question, comment, or contribution, I'd want to draw down the curtains here. Let me just ask Jonathan if he has anything to say. Macmills, please, do you have anything to say before we close?
Well, I just have a request.
Sorry, you said?
I don't.
Hello,
Hello.
I have
Yeah,
a request to
Brenda, you
make.
can go ahead.
Okay. Brenda, please say that again.
Okay, I have a request to make. Kindly, please share the recordings in the
Okay, okay,
classroom so that we can practice.
okay, sure. I will. I'll share the recording.
Okay,
But
thank
then
you.
I
Okay.
hope you've been seeing what we upload on the platform, the Google Classroom.
Yes.
Brenda, do you get access to them?
Yes,
Okay,
pardon me.
sure. So I'm asking, do you have access to the previous recordings? Because we do
Yes, I
upload
have.
them. All right, sure. Okay, so this one will be
I have.
uploaded on the platform.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So Tina, I have nothing to say now. So if there is no other